Hello everyone and welcome for this new tutorial. Last time we used PCG to create our forest. Today we will use PCG with Spline to create some area. For example, we make the area for our village. We'll create some road on the landscape with the Spline, and I will show you a lot of tips with the Spline. You will see how to use it, how to spawn stuff on the Spline, how to spawn stuff in the Spline. We will see all of that today, so let's jump into Unreal. Okay, so here is the stuff that we have created on the last video. I will let you check it out if you want to see how to make this landscape. The link will be in the description. Today we will see how to spawn our village. So we wanted to create a small village around here, before the river. First of all, I would like to disable my PCG tree to see what I'm doing, and we will start by creating a spline. So we will create the boundary of our village to remove everything from spawning into the village, and then we will be able to use this boundary to spawn some new stuff inside the village. Let's start by doing this. To create a spline, the easiest way is to go into the modeling mode. Now we get this modeling panel, and we can see that there is a draw spline, so we'll use that. Now we can draw a spline on the landscape, but first we would like to have the spline to be a loop. We want to have a boundary with a closed loop. We will make that into a blueprint. So we'll create a new blueprint, a blueprint class. We put that in the blueprint folder. We call that BP for blueprint underscore spline boundary. So let's make a spline. We will make a few points. You see, so first we'll, for example, click here. So that's gonna be our first point. Then we can go there. We just have to place point into the landscape. Do something like that. That's gonna be our village. We can always add some more points after we created the spline with the modeling tool. So now we can click on accept. And here will be the shape of our village. I'm gonna maybe move them a little bit around. I can add a new one by pressing Alt. It's the same as using the river or the road like last time. It's the exact same process. Let's put this one a little bit there, this one there. Okay, that's gonna be our village. If I enable my PCG tree, we can see that we have some tree into the spline of our village. So we'll go into the PCG trees. Now we can right click and do a get spline. It's again spline data. We'll do all world actor. We can do by class and we can get our blueprint. Blueprint underscore village spline boundary. If you have multiple village into your landscape, you will need to press the select multiple to be sure that it removes the trees on every blueprint village spline boundary. So we'll do that, and from this out we will do a spline sampler. Into the dimension we will use on interior to have the inside of the spline. The on interior only work when the spline is on loop. That's why we have loop or spline. If it's not closed, you cannot get the interior of the spline. We'll save, and now if I sample the spline, we can see we have a lot of cube into our spline. As our landscape have some little hill, we will need to project our box into the landscape to be sure that you can see in here we don't have any box, we cannot see them because the landscape is higher than the box. So we'll do projection. And the projection target will be our landscape. So we can drag this landscape, put it there. And if I check projection into the debug, we can see that we have the box onto the landscape. So now we can remove the tree from that. To remove it, we will use a difference, the same as this one. So we'll do difference. That's not going to be the source. And in the difference, we will not do the minimum, we will do binary, and this will be the difference. So the source will be our trees and our rock. We will use this projection to hide the tree and the rock. We will prevent them from spawning into there. So we will, for example, put it here. before the static mesh spawner, like that. Plug this in here, and plug this one, and you can plug the out into the static mesh spawner. And now, if I go back into my level, we can see that we don't have any tree into our boundary. The trees are around, but none of them is into our village boundary, which is here. I can now move this, for example, and I will be able to remove the tree. I can move this like that. And if a tree is supposed to spawn, it respawn. And if it's touching the boundary of the village, it should be removed. So that's pretty cool. Now we'll do the same with the rock. We can just duplicate this difference, put it here. And we'll do it in here. Difference. The out of the spline into the difference of the difference node, and the out into the static mesh spawner of the rock. Save. And now we don't have any more rock into our village boundary. So that's pretty cool. Now if I want to change, for example, my village, I don't want my village to be there anymore. I can, for example, click on my blueprint village spline and move it. And for example, put it somewhere there. And I will be able to have my village there. It should remove the tree from the village. I could create another one, for example, but I didn't select the multiple, so there will be an issue. As you can see, this one is not working, but this one is working. This one was the first one, so this one is working, but not this one. I will enable the multiple, and to make it work, I will just, into the get spline data, do the select multiple. Now it's working there as well. Now we will make a new spline to make some kind of road. It will not be a real road. It will be not a road like this one. It will be a small road that just removes the grass. It will just remove the flower and the grass from the landscape. So we'll make that. We can go into modeling and select a draw spline. The blueprint will be different. We'll create a new blueprint. We call this BP underscore, we'll do a forest road spline. Save that to be an actor. It's not gonna be a loop because we just want to make some little road. For example, from here, we'll go like this into our village. So we're gonna go. We'll first have this little spline. And now we will use this spline to remove the grass from spawning into this little road. So let's get into our PCG foliage. And we will do kind of the same thing. We will get the spline data. Into the actor filter, we'll do all world actor. We will select multiple because there can be multiple actor like that. We'll do by class. Get our blueprint forest. Right. It's the blueprint forest road spline that we have created. Save. Now we'll do spline sample. And from this spline sample, we will do a bounce modifier to change the size of our box because this spline sampler will be very small. You can see that this is our spline sample. Really bad. To fix this, we will change the subdivision per segment. Maybe we'll do something like 20 looks good. And into our bound modifier, we will change the size. For example, if I do 10 by 10 by 10 into the mean and 15 by 15 by 15 into the max. Let's debug this. We have increased the size of the spline sampler, but it's still not very good. Let's put back 1, 1, 1 to all of them because I don't want to increase the scale on all of them. We want to increase the scale maybe on Y. If I do 10 and 10, nice. Let's get into maybe 100 and 100. We start to get somewhere. We'll do 150 to 150. And now we can use the projection to project the box that we have into the landscape. To do projection, we'll use our landscape for the projection. And if I debug this, we can start to get something nice. Now we'll use a difference on each of them, like we did into the trees and into the rock. Difference. This will be the source. This will be the out. Then we will put binary into the density function. Let's duplicate this node. Make sure to always remove the link, because if I don't remove it, it will still be there. So always make sure to remove them. Remove the connection. We'll duplicate this again. We remove the connection. We put this into the source. This into the out. And the last one. Okay, now we can use this out of the projection into the difference of each difference node. Get this there, get this there, get this there, get this in here. Let's save and let's check. I will remove the debug that I have on the projection. If I spawn my character, we can see that we have a little place with no grass, with a small road to go into our village. Blueprint forest road spline. I'm gonna duplicate it like that. I can remove some point. Up. Like this. Let's put it there. It's looking pretty cool now. Let's make a little house for our village. To do that, we will use the modeling tool. I will show you something very cool that you can use to help you to create something very fast to block out stuff. We don't have a house to put into the village, so we'll create very fast house. I will show you how to do that with the modeling tool. So we'll use the CubeGrid. I will reset the grid from actor, so we can see we have now a grid into our landscape. And we can use this grid to create something very fast. And here is our very fast house. It looks pretty cool. Now we can use this little house to spawn some house into our village. We can find our house into the maps folder. It's into the generated. See the house. We can see that the anchor point is on the left side of the house. I would like to put it into the middle. We'll go to Xform and change the pivot. We'll do edit pivot and we'll choose center and bottom. Perfect. We can accept. Now we have the house from here. Now we'll create a new PCG for our village. PCG graph PCG underscore village. We do get spline data to get the spline of our village. Let's do all world actor by class VP underscore village spline boundary. We select multiple. We do a spline sampler. We choose on interior. Perfect. Let's do a projection into the landscape. Okay, we have this. Now I would like to sample the landscape to place some of the house. And the boundary will be my spline data. So we use this projection as the boundary. So if I take the landscape and I do a surface sampler, we can see that there is the bounding shape. And it says that all sample points must be contained within this shape, so we can put the out into the bounding shape. Now if I debug this, that we have some point created into our village, and it's inside the boundary of the village of our spline. Okay, so here is the result that we have. I'm just gonna go through everything I did to move the house around. As you saw, the most important thing is the bounding shape. We get the spline data from the village spline boundary. We sample it, we get the inside. Then we do a projection to project it on the landscape. In the surface sampler of the landscape, we can bound the shape to only create cube inside the village spline boundary. Then we do a transform point. We rotate them randomly. We actually do not need to do that. I will put 0, we don't need to do that. Then we will remove the house that spawn onto the forest road spline. Make sure that there is no house spawning on the road inside the village. Then we just do a density filter to remove some of the house. And then I did the spawn actor. And on the spawn actor, I created the blueprint houses. In this blueprint, there will be the static mesh of the house. We could create multiple static mesh and then mix them into the blueprint to be able to randomize them to show sometimes the house with a roof like this, then a house with a flat roof and stuff like that. We can use the blueprint to do that. And I also use it to rotate the house toward the road. I will show you that. So there is some of the house that turn to the road. Sometimes they turn weirdly. I turn them towards the location of the road. For example, this point for this road. I should actually make them look at the spline, but I don't want to do that now. We will do that with a PCG component. But just to show you, I have my blueprint houses. I did in the construction script. I will get all the actors of the blueprint forest road. And then for each, I will just check which one is the closest to the house, to the location of the house. Then when I found the closest, I save it to the location of closest road. And at the end of checking all of the road in my village, I just do a set actor rotation by getting my actor location and the location of the closest road. And there is a node very nice that is the find look at rotation. What is the rotation? To have this location look at the other location. Then we just need to set the actor rotation. I just set it on the Z axis. I don't need to set the X and Y axis. Just need to set the Z axis. And that's it. Now I have my houses that actually look at the road. So we have our little road to go inside. Then we have some nice little house. The houses are actually very big, but they are just a mock-up to... Let me go in. Yes, they are just a mock-up to show you how to make it. I have my houses. There is some there that follow the road. So it's pretty cool. We saw how to create a spline, how to use it to remove the trees and the rock from spawning into the spline. We saw how to use the spline to create a road and to remove the stuff on the road. We also just saw how to use the spline as a boundary to spawn stuff into the interior of the spline. You got almost everything on spline. There is some few stuff that we can see again on the spline, but we will not see that today. On the next video on PCG, we will check how to create our own little PCG component. And we'll use that to rotate stuff to look at something. So we'll be able to look at our spline by creating a little component like that. If you like PCG, you can go and check this video. It's about how to use PCG to spawn the stuff into our landscape. And if you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you don't want to miss the next video. It's good for today. I will see you on the next video. Bye.